Mom, 40F, cheated on stepdad, 45M, and ruined my, 16M, and my siblings' lives. I am a 16 years old male. I have 2 sisters, 10F, 8F. Our biological father was never in our lives. He left my mom when she was pregnant with me, came back 6 years later and said he wanted to make amends and that we could be a happy family. Somehow my mom immediately started saying that she loved him, but he left after mom got pregnant again. Then 2 years later he came back. I cried and begged my mom to not let him into our lives because I hated him. Well, he said the same thing. My mom also said she loved him, and then he left after she got pregnant again. My mom was a waitress, so the 4 of us lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment. I was essentially another parent to my sisters because mom was always working. Sometimes, we wouldn't eat breakfast or dinner because we couldn't afford it. Other times, I did not eat anything so that my sisters could eat. My mom met another man, 45M, a year after my youngest sister was born. He is a really good man. His wife and daughter had died in an accident a long time ago when he was in his 20s. He met my mom when he was ready to date again. He is a really good man and treated us like his own children, and I consider him my father. He was very wealthy and owned multiple businesses. We eventually moved into his huge mansion-like house. I also had a better school there. We 3 siblings got our own rooms and I got better clothes, played video games for the first time in my life, and a bunch of other things. He taught me things, helped me catch up in school because I could not do well in the previous school. He spent a lot of time with the 3 of us. My sisters eventually started calling him Dad. I followed shortly after. I remember him crying, hugging us and telling he loved us when we called him Dad for the first time. They eventually got married and Dad asked me to be one of his groomsmen, and of course, I said yes while my sister were my mom's bridesmaids. Mom stayed at home to take care of us. As far as I know, they were very happy together. They went on dates at least once in 2 weeks, kissed each other frequently, and always told each other that they loved each other. He also knew about mom's past and realized she had issues and got her into counseling. I was really happy that my mom had finally found someone who treated her well. I was also very happy for myself and my siblings and really loved him. He also said that he would pay for college for the 3 of us. My dream is to become a doctor, and I never thought it would be possible cause it was so expensive, and I was so freaking happy. Mom also told me she was very lucky to have found him and that she loves him and is very grateful of how he has made her and our lives better. Well, last year July Dad discovered that my mom was having an affair with his best friend, who was also the best man at their wedding. Apparently, the affair was going on for a long time. I do not know exactly how long. Mom cried and begged him to give her another chance. He didn't, understandably. He let us keep all the new things such as clothes for me and toys for my sisters. When I went to him crying and asking him why he was leaving us, he just hugged me and told me about mom's affair. He said the affair is too painful and that he cannot be in this marriage anymore, and then said that he loved me and my sisters. My sisters do not know about the affair. I do not think they will understand. He got a prenup, so mom did not get anything that wasn't hers. Dad just had to pay the rent of a new apartment until the divorce was finalized. We stayed in a decent apartment, but after the divorce was done we moved into a much smaller apartment. I tried to be in contact with him, but it does not seem like he wants a relationship with me. He has never responded to my messages. I sent a final letter to him last year December thanking him for everything he did for me and my sisters and that I loved him and would remember him forever. So now we're back to a 1-bedroom apartment, skipping meals and barely being able to afford anything. I sleep on the floor now. My sisters share a bed while my mom uses another. Mom is a waitress again. I've also taken a part-time at a grocery store to help with money. I just hate my mom so much right now. I only took the job to help my sisters. I have also stopped talking to mom. Recently she came crying to me and told me that she was sorry for ruining everything and she wanted me to talk to her. I broke down and just said, I don't understand. Why did you cheat on him? He was taking such good care of you and the 3 of us. He was also gonna send us to college. For the first time in my life, I was happy. You have destroyed my life. Why do you always have to ruin everything? You already did that twice when you let Biofather back in my life. I hate you. I never want to talk to you again. She was crying a lot after I said that. I am gonna admit, what I said was pretty rude, but at that time I was just so angry. I just hate her so much right now. I just wish she dies a very painful death. These thoughts are the only things in my head. It's making me go insane and I know it's not normal. I read online that therapy would be useful but we can't even afford food on most days so we don't have insurance. All I can think about is how she ruined everything. He didn't even ask for much. Mom was living such a luxurious life and was just at home taking care of her own biological children. I just miss him so much. Even my sisters keep asking when they are going back home or when they'll see Dad again. They've also started crying and asking for Dad a lot of times this past year. I just don't know what to do anymore. I am so frustrated and just angry at everything. I wish I could run from here, but if I did, who would take care of my siblings? That stupid mother can't do shit. I guess I'm here 'cause I need some help. I don't really know what to do. Some days, I'm just so tired and don't want to do anything. Other days I just wished I died and all of this ended. Thank you. I am so sorry. Life can be so unfair. Your way out of this horrible situation is an education. Work hard at school and get into a good college. Don't worry about how it's going to be paid for. There are plenty of scholarships and grants. You still can be a doctor. Talk to your counselor at school about what's going on at home. There is a lot of help out there. You will be in my thoughts and prayers, buddy. Let me know if I can help. Don't be too hard on your stepdad. It's got to be devastating to find out the woman you love is cheating with your best friend. Naturally, you're part of the fallout for that. Hopefully in time he'll re-establish contact. If it makes you feel any better, I've never met your mom and I hate her too. Your hate is justified and she just has to learn to live with the consequences of her selfish behavior. Also, call CPS. Children should not be missing meals. Calls the CPS. It is not normal for a child to sleep on the floor and have to skip meals. I'm so sorry. Your anger is justified. You have faced huge upheaval and are grieving the loss of your father. Please speak to a school counselor or a trusted teacher to help you through this. Please reach out to the guidance counselor and/or social worker at your school. See if there is any social assistance programs that will help you and your sisters, like SNAP, EBT, etc. My child's school has a food and clothing pantry, and a program that gives kids food packages to give them meals for the weekends. I am so sorry that your mother ruined your family's chance at happiness and stability. Move out the first chance you get. Run and never look back. Talk to a therapist. You have a lot of issues that need to be unpacked and processed. Your mother, like most of us, is a flawed individual, and her bad decisions has hurt you and your sister severely. I am sure she didn't think about it during her affair, but yet your family was devastated by it. It's understandable how you feel. To your stepdad, you are a reminder of what was, and can never again be. He would have to be a much better guy than I am to keep you in his life. I am sorry you are going through this. It's not a happy thing. Try and get the professional help you need. Did I go too far when I called my rich friend a deluded a-hole during an argument about finances? Me, 28F, and my best friend K, 28F, have known each other since we were kids. We grew up together, went to school together, college together and grad school together. The thing is, K comes from money, as in parents bought her an apartment as a graduation gift kind of money. We were recently talking and she was telling me how this whole work thing probably isn't for her and she's thinking of retiring when she's in her mid-late 30s. I asked her how she planned on doing that and she replied, just live off her family. I told her that's nice for her but most people can't do that and quipped that I wouldn't be able to afford to retire until I was probably into my 70s. She laughed at that and I told her it was true. I also pointed out that I'm nearly 30 and no way in hell I'll qualify for a mortgage, 30 years long, for at least another half-decade if I'm lucky, which brings me to 60, so I'll have a sizable debt until at least then, so I'd have to work. She dismissively said, just pay it off early, and I pointed out that most people won't have piles of cash to pay down a mortgage, especially if they want to have families, etc. She then quipped up that it's not hard to save, giving me an anecdote of her stupid boss who was recently at a financial planner as she and her husband were trying to buy their first home and she found she was only able to save $500 per month. I explained to my friend that based on the salary of someone of her grade after rent, insurance, car costs, childcare and other general life maintenance that $500 was actually pretty decent. I then explained how after my expenses that was pretty much what I could afford too and would have to forego a good bit to even save that. We have the same salary. She gasped and said she saved nearly 3 times as much and wasn't even trying. Because Kay's paycheck is like her pocket money and mom and dad pay for everything else. Kay then said that I shouldn't be worrying, that I was too young to worry about this stuff and that the last years of our 20s was to be enjoyed, and that I couldn't be so cheap, and had to splurge a little if we wanted to do more fun things. I told her I still had to save for my mortgage down payment as it will still take me several more years to get together. She laughed and said our jobs were good and we'd start making more very quickly. True. But I still tried to explain to Kay just how expensive merely existing is when you don't have rich parents. She said that people just needed to work harder. I pointed out to her that we had the same job and she found it so hard she wanted to retire in less than a decade. I told her my parents, who she is very fond of, both had good jobs, worked hard, did everything right, and while better off than most still had to budget carefully and were one big expense away from catastrophe despite all their work. This was the same for most people. Kay then said, people should just live within their means then. Not everyone can afford a big house or apartment in the city, they need to live in the countryside or somewhere cheaper. Me. Well, if they have no choice but to work in the city, a 3-hour each-way commute is no life at all really. Kay. Life isn't fair. You can't get everything you want. Me. I'm not asking for everything, no one is, we're asking for a little equality and justice, that people who work every day, got that good education, break their backs for years can afford a little stability in their lives. A roof over their head is not some obscene luxury. Kay. I'm not talking to you when you get like this, you're so arrogant and condescending, there's not talking to you, no one but you is allowed to have an opinion. Me. Your opinion is that the vast majority of the young working population who are facing a lifetime as wealth generators and having no stability or quality of life should work harder and live within their means. Kay. No point in arguing, you're so dismissive of everyone's opinion. Me. And you're so fucking dismissive of the reality that most of us live in because you couldn't fucking possibly understand it. You don't want to understand it and don't care. Your wealth has insulated you from the real world, so as far as I'm concerned your deluded opinion is worth jack fucking shit. You think someone who decided they want to retire at fucking 35 is entitled to tell me how I shouldn't be saving so much because I need to have fun. Fuck off. Honestly, this isn't the first time this topic has come up, but it's definitely the worst fight. As I get older, this attitude of hers get more and more unbearable. My financial situation, like many of my generation, causes me extreme stress and anxiety. I have advanced degrees and a good job and yet I'll struggle to ever own a home. Can't even think about affording to raise a family in the near future. So probably never. I'll be working until I push 70 if I'm lucky, and I'm always one large unexpected expense away from draining my life savings and or putting myself in debt. Her attitude that money isn't everything has only ever, in my opinion, been espoused by people who have it, because to the rest of us it's pretty fucking important. We've been best friends forever, but the older we get the more it seems like we don't even live on the same fucking planet. The worries that nag me constantly don't exist for her. I love her, but I'm seriously afraid our days as friends are limited because the cognitive dissonance that wasn't there even a few years ago is very real now. Anyway, she stormed out and now I'm pissed off but also not sure if I took it too far. She is a rich, deluded a hole. No, you didn't go too far. Honestly, I'm surprised your friendship has lasted this long. People need to just work harder. Says the pampered princess who doesn't want to do even 15 years in the workforce. This is one of those situations where if you want to stay friends with this person you gotta agree to disagree. Debating is a good thing, but it seems you've brought up this topic before but it's only led to fights. They'll only realize the difficulties of finances once they're trying to do it on their own. You should just work harder and save more. It's so easy, is a common refrain from rich people when they talk about those of us less fortunate than them. Especially the sort of rich people like your friend that didn't do anything to earn the money. First-hand rich people tend to be a little more empathetic. But there's no asshole like an asshole that inherited money that someone else worked for. Nah, you're correct. I couldn't be friends with somebody like that, honestly. There's nothing inherently wrong with not needing to worry about money, but there is a lot wrong with her absolute ignorance and dismissal of how 99% of the world's population lives. Wow, advanced degrees and still not able to buy a home. The trap of capitalism. You won't be able to retire or enjoy life. How wealthy are her parents? How did you remember this whole conversation word for word? This seems fake. Listen, at the end of the day, you can walk away knowing that if she was cut off from her parents' money, she would have a change of tune real fucking quick. 42M. Think a girl, 30s, is going to try monkey branching to me. Okay, so I want to give some context and background on why I think this is happening. I'm from the States, but I am currently working overseas in Eastern Europe. After being here a couple of weeks, I decided to find a teacher that teaches English since I was pretty sure she could teach an English speaker their native tongue. Well, I found one. A real nice lady. She is probably 14 years older than me. I just turned 42. But I'm told I don't look over 35, shrug. She has a daughter that is in her mid-30s. I know this because tutor and I, have really talked a lot about everything for the past few weeks. Her daughter also has a little girl of her own and a long-term boyfriend, 10+ years, and the father of her child. So, shortly after starting my lessons, the tutor begs me to go to this tango class she gives. I decline the first week because dancing, crowds, and other nonsense like that just isn't my cup of tea. But the second week she pressures me into it. I'm not going to lie. I had fun. It was fun learning the dance, and also, I was the only single guy there, so I had 3 girls taking turns with me. The next week, while at the tutor's classroom thing, her daughter shows up. I immediately knew who it was because her picture was in the background of the tutor's laptop. The daughter pokes her head in to talk to her mother but looks at me first and gets this weirdish surprised look on her face even though she knew her mother was in the middle of a lesson. I just smile, as one does. Then she directs her attention back to her mother and starts talking to her. I have no idea what they were saying, but I think it had something to do with money. Doesn't matter. The girl looks back at me, smiles, and says bye, in English, and I return a bye in their native tongue. Later that week, on tango night, the tutor says her daughter will be attending. I was like, oh okay, cool. I didn't really think much of it since she has a man, and it's not like I lacked in dance partners. This was on a Friday night, by the way. So we had the tango class, but her boyfriend didn't come with her, and now I had to juggle 4 girls as we practice. Now I knew the daughter was in a relationship, so I purposely only held her at the elbows instead of getting close and putting my hand on her back or waist. It is a training style or something so you can get comfortable with foot movement. But nothing else exciting that evening other than everyone seemed to have fun. But the entire time we were at the tango lesson area, it was a big room. I dunno. She was staring at me like I was a ham sandwich and laughing at everything I was saying. Alright, so my next language lesson was Monday. I show up, and the tutor and I start chatting about what we did during the weekend. She tells me that her daughter is separating from her boyfriend. I was really caught off guard by this and immediately thought that I had somehow been the cause of this. I told the tutor, that's not good at all. I asked her why. She said that her daughter just wants to focus on her art, she's an artist, and stuff. I asked why she needed to split up with her boyfriend to do those things. She just shrugged a bit and started saying that he is just really quiet, but nice. And he doesn't really go out. And then she said it might only be a separation for a few months. So evidently, the day after the tango class, this all went down. The tutor has always been happy, energetic, and kind of flirty with me and stuff, but I just kind of always smiled it off. When I expressed my concern about her daughter splitting up a family for no real reason at all, as far as I am concerned, she gave off body language that she was upset at my comments, concerns, disapproval. I feel that not only is the girl siding in on me, but her mother is also instigating the situation. The tutor knows a lot about me, including my income. It came up while she was explaining their economy. I wanted to see what I made in comparison to the average person in their country after converting. It is a lot. I already make great money, barely over 6 figures, for a guy from the Midwest. But you can pretty much say my income would be doubled and strength in their country due to how much they make and how cheap it is there. I'm not going to entertain this situation at all. But I don't know how to go about it without upsetting anyone. This entire situation has gotten very weird very fast. Any advice? Do I just stop being pleasant if the daughter starts coming around more? I hope I'm wrong about all of this. But I think that I'm not. I was cheated on by my wife, at the time. While I was in Iraq and later in another relationship after I divorced when I went to Afghanistan. I in no way ever want to put another human through those same feelings I went through. I don't see the problem here. Carry on the lessons, and simply rebuff the attempts to start a relationship. You are not responsible for what a stranger does, even if they are breaking off a relationship to take a run at you. Stop the tango? Get another tutor? Seems weird. I think you ought to run the other way. Sorry, disappointed. Absolutely nothing in your story makes me think that the daughter's breakup had anything to do with you, or that she is seeking a relationship with you. I've been dancing for years, salsa, and you smile at your partners, and there's often a bit of a spark, because dancing is sexy, but it's part of the fun of dancing and not an indication of any sort of attempt at romance. That is awfully presumptuous of you to assume that the daughter is breaking up with her boyfriend for you. I would just continue doing what you're doing. Enjoy dancing. So there's a lot going on here. First, the fact that she apparently broke off a relationship for you. Second, the fact that she's clearly in it for the wrong reasons. I would focus more on the second one if I were you, because as a guy in your situation, she's so not going to be the only woman who is going to try to get to you for your money and your citizenship. Relationships are about give and take. Remain aware of what you're giving and what you're getting in each relationship. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Oh dear God, here we go again. Another arrogant, rich, pompous big American in a third world country walking around assuming that all the ladies want to jump his bones and stow away in his luggage to get a green card. Why don't you pump the brakes on the arrogance and just wait until a definitive move has been made by these two desperate women, according to your narrative? Or just find another tutor and cancel the tango? You also realize that even if this is what's happening, you don't have to do anything. There's no gun to your head. What is this? You made a post to say, I think my tutor is pushing her daughter onto me because I make a lot of money but I'm not interested. Okay then, so? 42 years old and acting clueless like this. Tears of joy, tears of joy. Dude, she's danced with you at a dance class and saw you at her mother's place. She did not break up her relationship because of you. She may be interested in you, that's possible, but flat out, that relationship was going to end one way or the other at this time. No one breaks up a 10-year relationship for a guy they've never even had a real conversation with. Get over yourself face with rolling eyes. My girlfriend asked me to open our relationship and it has destroyed my self-esteem. Throwaway account because my girlfriend follows my main. Background info. We have been dating for 1 year now. This happened 2 days ago. We were sitting on the couch watching a movie when she turns and asks if I would be comfortable with us opening up our relationship. Immediately I feel my heart rate rise significantly. She talks about how she wants to have different sexual experiences and doesn't want to turn 50 and regret not at least trying these sorts of things. She also keeps saying that she loves me and that she wants to spend her life with me. I voice my extreme discomfort with the idea of us going to other people for sex. I asked her if she had anyone in mind and if they had brought all of this about. She said no, but I could tell something wasn't right. I kept pushing and she finally says that she has a crush on Boss and if we were to try this she would have sex with him. Immediately I start feeling lightheaded. She can see this has clearly affected me badly and starts backpedaling saying that it was just an idea, it's not really a crush and that he's just the first person who came to mind. It then hits me, I've met this guy before and I've met his wife. So I ask why she seems so sure that she would have sex with him given he's married. She says that he has flirted with her a bit. I asked if they are messaging outside of work and she said yes. I asked to see the texts and she seemed hesitant but eventually said yes. I start scrolling and she starts getting visibly scared and tries to stop me from reading. I then see why. She already has had this conversation with him, asking if he would be interested in having sex with her as part of our open relationship that I wasn't even aware at the time she wanted at the time. He said absolutely and has been trying to organize a time for them. She even agreed to use our apartment. All of a sudden the overwhelming urge to throw up hit me and I left the room. Once I finished throwing up she comes in and says it was a stupid idea and she'll forget about it. I tried to explain that my issue is with her planning it before asking me and we get into a massive fight. She is refusing to understand where I'm coming from and this whole thing has completely destroyed me. Whenever she's at work I'm filled with anxiety, and now she's just trying to act like the whole thing never happened. I've asked her if she is still in contact with her boss and she says that she is and that they are friends and she has explained to him that the open relationship isn't going ahead. Even still I've asked to look at the messages and she refuses to show me. I can't seem to think straight anymore. I love her and now when I look at her all I can do is think about how she probably would rather be with her boss. What can I do to overcome this? Any advice is greatly appreciated. Too long did not read. My girlfriend asked me to open our relationship. I think so she can have sex with her boss guilt-free. And it has destroyed my self-esteem. Update. I've read the comments so far and I know you are all right. This relationship is over. I have decided to break up with her when she gets home from work. I am going to stay at my brother's place till I can line up a new apartment to rent. I appreciate the tough love, I definitely needed it. Thank you all for your comments. Well, she just did you a solid. She let you know that she is considering sleeping with other people. She tried to convince you that it was a good idea, But when you didn't go for it she backpedaled. This just means she won't tell you when she actually goes through with it. I say this as a solid because you don't have to wonder if she is cheating now. You know she is. Time for you to dump her and move on with someone who respects you enough to not want to risk the relationship or hurt you just to sleep with other people. Break up and walk away. That's a pain you won't recover from. She's even considering using your apartment? Where you sleep. No decency for your feelings. How can you even trust her again? I don't understand this. Why do people agree to monogamy if they want polygamy? Get a new girlfriend. This isn't how an open relationship is supposed to work. She's been emotionally cheating on you. It's no different than physically cheating. The ball is in your court. Basically, she's cheating. They may not have had sex yet, but she is talking about it and planning it with someone outside of your relationship. I'd be very tempted to show that conversation to his poor wife. Pick yourself up and do not let him impact your self-esteem a moment longer. You are the faithful partner, the good guy. She is the cheater. Kick her to the curb, she is no longer worth your time. She's most likely already fucking him. Ditch the bitch. Nothing. There's no overcoming that. You can only change for the next girl, if it was even you that was the problem. Don't try to repaint people when they show you their true colors. Normally when I read comments on this subreddit that all say, break up with this person, I can find a reason why the op should try to work on the relationship instead. This time, I 100% agree with everyone else. There is no salvaging this unfortunately, and you should cut your losses now and begin the healing process. I'm sorry she was awful, especially since you felt like you genuinely loved this woman.